people often regard the holidays as a time to relax, enjoy, have fun, and just chill out. Don't worry about work, just have the time of your life. And I support all those things. I think that's completely true. But I think the unspoken reality is they're often quite boring. There's often times where you're sitting at home and you're thinking, what on earth am I going to do today? And I'm going to just challenge you to perhaps thinking about using that time for productive measures that will make your life easier in the future. So maybe there's some short-term pain, but you're taking your boredom and making it productive to make the long term better. Here's how. So when I'm thinking about how I spend my time on the holidays, I have a similar mindset to most people. The first priority is anything to do with friends and social life. That gets a yes. Anytime someone asks to hang out, yes, yes, yes. Any trips, I'm not going to make sacrifices for those things. So that will be the first block out on my calendar. If there's things that people are interested in doing, there's places people want to go, things I want to do, that takes priority. Number two, the activities that I'm passionate about that help me grow. So currently, when I wake up, like I'm trying to make at least, do something for my YouTube channel every day because that's something that I enjoy doing and it's meaningful. It's helping me, grow long term. But that's also something I've got a bit of extra time to do now that I was neglecting during the term. Hobbies. So some people will be, perfectly happy just sitting, reading a book the whole holidays, and I think that's perfectly reasonable too. I'll definitely be reading a bit more now because sometimes it's a bit hard to justify lots of reading when could be spending this time doing some work. Uh, for me, it sits. I was tossing up between the place hobbies second or third, but I think still for me, like the actual jobs and activities that are productive will probably still trump the hobbies. That's hobbies that you're doing just by yourself. I think hobbies with other people will go up to number one. So, but then you might prioritize that differently, for example. And then finally is the content for next year. This is only when all the other three tanks are full. So let's say, like 3 days a week, I want to see friends. Every day I'm going to do an hour working on some things that I am passionate about. So maybe I'll do an hour of my YouTube channel and then like maybe I'll have an hour of exercise every day and an hour of reading my books every day. Now, with the extra time from that, then maybe I can think about, can I find 30 minutes to do some study? Now, me personally, I will probably start studying for next year, but won't be anytime soon. So I think at the minute, the first three camps are sort of going to keep me full enough for a while. But I will sort of commit some time to doing some of next year's content, and I think there's some benefits to that, and I'll talk about how. So I think I'm not talking about doing lots of study here. I'm talking about, what you enjoy. And so actually, before I move on, there's often times during the term where I'd love to learn about things, but I'm thinking, oh, the time I could spend learning about this, I could also spend studying. So on the holidays is another time for me to learn about those topics. So I'm learning a lot about LLMs and AI currently because that's what I'm just interested in the moment. Next week it might be physics. Next week it might be arts and crafts, whatever it could be. And I encourage people, if there's something you're passionate about learning, go for it on the holidays, because that's also a really nice time to try some of the study strategies as well and memory strategies on a topic that you're actually passionate about. Now, in terms of the content, I'd commit to doing a small amount of content. Like if you do like 30 minutes a day, it's not going to make your life any worse. I don't think it'll like massively impede your enjoyment of your break. It is important to schedule it because if you do all the other things, then you think, why would I want to study? It's like 4 p.m. and I can just be watching another episode of Game of Thrones. So I'll try and schedule it. For me, it's probably going to be the first thing in the morning because that's a consistent time. There's no excuses. Like I'll have that every day. I can do 30 minutes, sure. Another option is after a repeated habit. So, everyone brushes, well, I don't want to say everyone because there have been some examples, but some people or most people brush their teeth twice a day. So then you might say, after I have dinner or after I brush my teeth for the second time in the day, I'm going to do like 15 minutes. Another nice one. Another option is to have an accountability group. So one time I was hoping to, write about a page a day. And one thing I did was just with a group of three friends, we each had a thing we wanted to do consistently. And every day we would just take a photo, about us accomplishing our goal for that day and post in the chat. And that was it. Hard to maintain, but that actually motivated me and got me a few extra days with that accountability group. Number two, start with why. Like, if you're just forcing yourself to learn the content, just leave it. This shouldn't be something that is like really painful. This should be something that you potentially enjoy doing. So if you're in year 10 and you want to get ahead in year 11, um, like think about why you actually want to do that. What's the purpose of this? Will this uh, take some time off you in year 11? Will this make you more intelligent in that subject? Do you want to try out some other way of learning? Do you wish you had more time? Do you feel stressed and rushed during the year? Then it makes sense to say, I often feel left behind in class. I often feel people get ahead of me. I wish I, knew a little better background. I'm now going to use my holidays just to learn a little bit. Or, I'm starting a new subject. I'm starting accounting when I'm doing year 11. I don't know anything about accounting. So I'm curious just to know a bit of the bread and butter about that. So for me, I did year 12 accounting, so the 3-4 in year 11, and I didn't know much about it. So in the holidays between year 10 and year 11, I just checked out the textbook. I just learned a little bit about accounting, just so I was, on the same page with some of the people who had already done the one and two. So make sure you're not forcing yourself. Make sure you actually are motivated to do it. You have a reason to do it. You know why you're doing it, and you find some sort of meaning and enjoyment in doing it. And then the third thing, which is important, is just learn the core principles. Like all the specific things on the holidays, you'll probably forget. But if you learn the core fundamentals, then it's really easy to build and branch off that. So start with the root of the tree and the branches will come later. And if you just focus on the core principles, it's easier to remember and it's easier to teach. So your goal should ideally be, by the end of your learning, can you give some sort of mini lecture to someone who knows nothing about that topic and explain the core principles? If they ask why a couple of times, can you explain that why? So don't get caught up on the details. I wouldn't get too caught up on, making specific notes. I would just try and learn like what are the main ideas here? What are the important things that then once I know them, it'll be really easy for me to learn these side pieces next year. So the benefits of this, you'll feel a lot more organized next year, and it's extra time to organize your thoughts. So, for example, some people will be sitting the GSSE in internship or in second year, and if you just try to start your GSSE prep whilst you're working a 9 to 5, it might be pretty tricky. Like, how do you want to organize your resources, your notes? Whereas if you spend a couple of days in the holidays, it might be a lot easier just to organize that, make a plan, and not have any stress associated with that. And then you can then work into that plan and have sort of, dedicated goals and it's a lot more organized and efficient. It will help you learn faster and more long term if again, it's more repetitions. So, the person who studies for 12 months is going to beat the person who studies for 9. The person who already knows something about the topic will learn faster than the person who knows nothing about the topic. Like imagine if you just went from grade 1 maths to grade 3 maths, it'd be a disadvantage to those people who have already done some grade 2 maths. And whatever work you do on the holidays is less work you'll do later on. So if you're someone who's very meticulous in the way they write their notes, any start you make on that will be less work, less stress later on. So I'm not saying to sacrifice your holidays. I'm just trying to get you thinking about using the boredom, using the spare time, and having some level of studying and work ongoing. If you are completely burnt out and want a break, take a break. And that's what I'll probably be doing the first month. I won't touch any of these things. But the second month of holidays, I'll probably get into it in some sort of, 30 to 60 minutes a day form. I'd welcome any questions you have about this topic. And make sure you check out some other videos as well for more ideas on how to study and learn more effectively. Thanks, guys.